I want to briefly talk about the dangers of the mainstream spirituality that is out there. As some of you have noticed, spirituality has become this new trend, this new modern way of looking for the answers, and that's a great thing. But there will be a lot of places where you will find misleading information or forces that are external using the human vessels to convey a message, to confuse the collective instead of guide them towards enlightenment. I've made a note of some of the things that I've noticed myself, which could help you identify which or how to navigate and make sure that you're not being influenced by someone or an entity that is possessing that person to deliver a really dangerous message. Number one, fake preachers. Now, with fake preachers, you will notice that they have fake followers. What I mean by that, it does not matter how much following a person has, it does not make them a good preacher. Because a fake preacher will have fake following. So it does not matter how many people are following that person. Do not let that confuse you and make you, oh well, if there are so many people following this person for their teaching, then they must deliver something that is good. No, not necessarily. They might deliver the opposite of that, and the following is on the same frequency of that preacher. So when you see that there is a preacher that has huge following, it means fuck all. If anything, sometimes the evil forces will use people with big followings that are fake preachers. They possess them, and in that possession, they deliver the evil's messages. And that can be very dangerous, because when someone has a big following, guess what? They will have a bigger platform to influence the collective. And that is a dangerous game, because the evil forces will try to control the ones that are fake to convey their evil messages. And it is actually easier to affect someone that is fake than to affect someone that is of strong belief. The other, or the second tip that I would like to share with you is the influencing agendas. And that goes into different categories, which I'm going to go into now. Social construct, political, and product industry. So you have to be really critical when you're watching something. What are they selling? What is the reason of their selling? And why, or how come this platform is giving this person the platform to influence a big audience? These things need to come in mind when you're watching someone delivering a message. Especially, I'm talking about spiritual. I don't care about the other aspects that you might watch, fun or cat or dog videos. I don't care about those. I'm talking about the spiritual influence that has been impacting the spiritual communities heavily at this time, because there is a spiritual shift that is happening collectively. The focus on the spiritual people, or the people that are seeking for spiritual guidance, is the focus here. You also have to keep in mind that people that are using spirituality to convey messages, to deliver new ways and methods to expand your spiritual advances, is also a new hype, a new trend. You could see it as a new trend, because it's becoming more of a fashion statement instead of a belief. And that there needs to be a real focus on how are you taking that message. I'm not saying that you could watch you can watch whoever you want, but you should be critical about the information that you are accepting, especially subconsciously. Because if you bring awareness and become critical, you hold the information before they enter you. If you just listen mindlessly to new methods and new techniques to accomplish something, and this includes Reiki or Reiki healing, if we go into that, for example, I've noticed a lot of the Reiki practitioners are actually for the evil forces. They Actually, I've heard a very interesting story, which makes sense because I never trusted Reiki healing because it is a taught method. Okay, this method is not always for the good. It is actually to have some type of control over your spiritual growth. And this is where you really need to pay attention. Yes, it might help you in some aspects of your life, but it can also hold your growth in spirit. So it can give you something, like you signing your soul to the devil. If you get something in return, doesn't mean that it's helping you in the long run. So you have to be really critical and really in touch with your spiritual awareness to tell the difference if this is for your highest good, or is it just a temporary gain that could be influencing you badly in the long run. Now, like I've mentioned briefly, the third tip is that you have to keep in mind that the evil forces will use these new trends, new hypes, this new interest in the spiritual growth and gain, that the evil forces will use that to influence the collective and mislead the growth that we all have been working hard on. Especially the ones that are part of the expansion, taking the collective to the fifth dimension. That mission can be really, really jeopardized by evil forces trying to implant their forces through a person you would think is helping you, because that is a person that you will accept subconsciously without being critical about. And so I encourage you to criticize every person you accept teaching from, including me, because my purpose could be true to me, but you also have the responsibility to be critical about the information I'm giving you. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm with the evil forces. Fuck that shit. I'm not part of that. But I could say that, and you could believe me or not believe me. This critical thinking, critical process is what I want you to focus on when watching anybody. The external evil forces are trying to slow the ascension of the collective down by confusing and misleading the collective from ascension. So you could know things that are actually lowering your vibration instead of bringing you to higher consciousness. And this is something that you have to be really careful about, because if you open up yourself to people without being critical of them, you need to kind of reconsider, because that's how the evil forces win the battle or win the war. Because you might win the battle in catching one person or catching two people, but that should be a constant practice of yours when you are growing spiritually. Now, I can't go specific and go discredit people for what they do, because it is not my mission to tell you this is a fake person and this is a true person. It is your responsibility to tell the difference. I encourage you to practice that with everything, but more specifically with your spiritual growth, because through your inward work, there is the outward manifestation. So really encourage you to be mindful and bring awareness to the teachings and the people, even if they convey themselves as good. That's where you really need to be careful, because there are good people out there that are doing the devil's work. And that's all I have to say on this matter. Hope this helps. Hope this helps you become more critical and more aware of the energies that you allow in your life and the energies that you exchange with others.